Welcome back to Autism Live. We're very fortunate because we have guests in the studio and on Skype right now. In the studio, we have Valerie Baadh. I said it wrong before. And do you do Valerie Baadh Garrett or just Valerie Baadh?
I can go anyway.
Okay, all right. But it's Baadh, and so I wanted to make sure that we got that correct. And then on Skype, we have joining us Zac Task. What a great name that is, Zac. So Valerie is the Self-Leadership Program Manager at Meristem for the TAP program. TAP stands for Transformational Advocacy Project. And Zac, I understand that you are, look at you, how handsome you are in your suit and tie. I understand that you are a student at Meristem.
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to both of you. Valerie, maybe let's start with Meristem. Sure. What is Meristem? And then we'll let Zac talk about his experience at Meristem. But what is Meristem?
Meristem is a transitional program for young adults on the spectrum or with other developmental delays, ages 18 to 28, as a transition from high school to greater independence and to employment. And many of our students also do college coursework in addition to the Meristem program.
So it's kind of like a stopgap for the cliff, because everybody talks about the cliff. You get to a certain age and then it's like, what's here?
Right.
Meristem is there.
Meristem is there. It's a 3-year program. Some go for 2 years and some go even 4 years. And our self-leadership program are students who have come back to deepen their work even longer.
Wow. And this is a live-in program or a place that you visit because you live locally?
Both.
Both.
About 3/4 of our students are in our independent living program that goes all the other hours of the day, and the rest are local residents and come for the day program.
So if you live in Kentucky and you're looking for a place to send your 20-year-old daughter
Yes.
who needs something transitionally, Meristem could be a solution for you.
Absolutely. We have students from all over the country.
Okay. So that's very, very exciting, and there's a wide variety of things that you guys cover at Meristem, but you believe in experiential work, is what I understand.
Absolutely. To help the young adult become at home with themselves, with the other person, and then be able to interact with the world while developing the skills to learn how to work.
Okay, absolutely sounds exciting. Zac, let's talk, because you're living it. You're a student at Meristem. How long have you been at Meristem?
So I've been at Meristem for just over 1.5 years now.
And do you like it?
Yeah, it's a great place. It gives you a lot of tools to succeed if that's what you want to do.
And so what are you focusing on there? What are you hoping to achieve before the time that you leave Meristem?
What I'm focusing on right now is mostly leadership and social skills. I'm focusing on planning more social outings with friends, going down to the aquatic center per se, as well as being able to help students on their own journey, leading them in a direction that they want to go.
Well, that sounds fabulous. I would follow you, Zac. If you said, let's do this, I'd be like all about that. I'm like, does he want to run for president?
Well, you might ask him that. Zac, why are you dressed so nicely this morning? You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So right after this, I'm actually going to head to my internship with Congresswoman Matsui.
I'm sorry, your internship with who?
Congresswoman Matsui.
Wow. I thought that's what you said, and I just wanted to make sure. So what are you doing with Congresswoman Matsui?
I'm just really helping out wherever they need it. It's just a normal internship, answering phones, writing, whatever needs to be written, really.
That's really exciting. And is that something that Meristem helped to hook you up with?
Oh, definitely. I actually got it. Well, I was first introduced to the Congresswoman when she came to Meristem, and I gave her a tour of the campus. And so that's how I initially got hooked up with them, yeah.
Now, did you say, are you looking for interns, or did she say, you are so fabulous, do you want to do an internship? Which way did that go?
I asked if she was looking for interns.
I love that. You advocated for yourself. That's wonderful. That's really amazing. So let's talk a little bit about backgrounds. How did you come to Meristem? Because this is not necessarily your background, Valerie.
Well, I'm a movement therapist specializing in sensory integration, previously with young children and even the elderly who experience sensory disintegration. And so I was invited to join Meristem, and as a movement teacher, most of the students know me first in my movement work, and then invited to help form the first leadership lab to continue deepening the movement work into the world. And Zac is one of our students who's been through that process.
And so for you, Zac, how did you find your way to Meristem?
It was really simple. My mom was looking for programs. I went to college, Sonoma State, for a year. I did okay, not great, and it wasn't really the best fit for me. And after that, my mom started looking for programs, and we found Meristem, and after that, here I am.
And what do you hope to go on to when you're done with your time at Meristem?
I want to get involved in the world of politics. I think it's a great tool to help people, and the law is really something that we can use to empower the people.
Well, you got that look about you, Zac. I got to say, honestly, I could see you running for something, and you're very well spoken too. So that's a wonderful thing. Now let's talk a little bit about the self-leadership program and so TAP stands for Transformational Advocacy Project. These are different things. They coexist. Help us out here.
So Zac, you were part of the process of coming up with that name TAP. You want to explain it a little bit about what it means?
Yeah, so one of the first things we did as a group was kind of brainstorm about what we want our name to be. And we decided we really wanted an acronym that sounded nice and really represented what we do. And we ended up with TAP. So transformational, we're trying to transform the world, in a sense, one step at a time. Right now, helping employers better understand how to employ those on the spectrum. So that's a transformation. And advocacy, because we really are advocating for those on the spectrum. We're advocating for their needs, and we're advocating for what would make them a good employee. And well, it's a project, so the P just fit nicely.
It is a project, so that is a wonderful, wonderful name for it. And so I know we were talking before. We're both big fans of Joanne Lara, who's a regular on the show and a dear friend of mine. And I understand you guys did some work together. So how did this TAP program come about? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it arose out of some advocacy from a group of students and supporters at Meristem with the legislator of the state of California. They said, let's advocate, let's find a new way to change the landscape of the employment picture for those on the spectrum, which is fairly bleak. 60 to 90% unemployed or underemployed. And our program is a transition to work program, so if we can improve that landscape, let's do it. And so through the advocacy of our students, a bill was passed for a pilot project, and this is the manifestation of that project in Sacramento County and in Los Angeles County, and we're in the middle of it right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so what is that going to look like? What's the breakdown going to look like?
Well, what's going to end up is a new kind of training for employers, how to create a compassionate workplace, how to onboard new employees in a way that will lead to retention of those valuable employees. So it comes from both sides, from the employability of the young adults into the workplace, and that's where Meristem builds those skills of how to learn to work. And then in the workplace themselves, how to communicate, how to work through the issues, and how to look at it in a new way. And the new way is the voice of the young adults themselves advocating.
Absolutely, and I always love it when we work together. I know that our viewers love when they're, when people are working along. So that's why I brought up Joanne, because I know that she was very involved as you guys were coming up with your plan to do this. I think as a community, when we're all on the same page and sharing ideas and doing things, we get further, which is just a remarkable thing. So now this piece of training the employers. So you mentioned that it's in Sacramento and in Los Angeles. And so, Zac, is that a part, what role are you going to play in that new, because it's new, correct?
We're in the middle of the pilot project that will lead, hopefully, to all of California
Wonderful.
and even all of the U.S.
Wonderful. So what role are you going to play in that, Zac?
So right now it's very fluid. I'm really just helping out wherever I can, helping refine a survey here, helping work on certain wording in an email here. I'm really just doing whatever needs to be done.
Such a politician. It's very fluid right now, he says. You're getting some good training in being a politician, Zac. So
Thank you.
For the folks who are watching at home and they're like, wow, this is really exciting, but realistically, how many students can you take at Meristem, and how many students are going to be involved in the TAP in the beginning, in the pilot, and as you start?
So at Meristem, we can take up to 100 students. We have between 40 and 60 now.
So you've got room.
Oh yeah, we have room, especially for day students. In the independent living, we can take 60. And in TAP, we started with 12 students, and in fact, we just finished a jobs program with a different group of 12 young adults, some from the community, and we placed them in jobs in our local community, collaborating with local employers for 3 weeks. And we studied every aspect of that, from the interview process to the evaluation process at the end. And the results are very interesting for us, and we can apply that to now the next phase, which is working directly with the employers to improve their experience with the young adult on the spectrum, and also how to create the conditions in the workplace that really support the value that these workers can bring, and the business bottom line of the worker, of the company. Not a charity model that's good for social culture, but it's good for business.
Yeah.
These are valuable workers, and let's learn how to make a home for them in your company.
For employers who have found the way to make this work, what we hear so often is that these employees are of the highest caliber. They're the people who are on time, who are passionate, who are detail-oriented, that you can give a project to where somebody else may not be as interested in making sure that all the details are right, but a lot of times these individuals are particularly good at that they're faster at it, and that they won't stop until they get something the way that it's supposed to be. But we hear too often of some little thing that goes wrong within the workplace that makes it impossible for that person to work there. And for the places that it is working, where some little adjustment has been made that makes everything possible. I think of Dr. Stephen Shore, who is a wonderful professor teaching music, but what he discovered was that he couldn't work in the classroom with the overhead fluorescent lights unless he was wearing a baseball cap. If he simply wore a baseball cap, it covered enough of the fluorescent light so that he could focus and teach his classes, and he had to go to the university and say to them, do you have a problem if I wear a baseball hat? Because that really was at a time when that was considered to be too casual, and they said, if that's what you need, go for it. And he is a valued, highly sought professor, been teaching at the same university for decades. So those little tweaks, is that what you're going to help employers to understand and do?
Sure, that's the compassionate workplace. They need to wear the headphones. Do they need to have a quiet zone to take 5 minutes? Absolutely. We've also find that it's really important that it's a good match between the potential worker and the job that needs to be done. And what we're finding in most successful programs is a fairly extended onboarding process to make sure that that it is a good match. And that's what we found even with our short 3-week project, that it was so successful, and we looked at that and went, wow, you know, because you want some of the fails to learn from. We matched them really well, and the employers say, we want these folks back.
Yeah.
Can we keep going with the project?
What kinds of employers and what kinds of jobs did you match up?
We had 6 different programs that we worked with. There was a restaurant, fairly a 4-star restaurant.
And what was the position that the person was doing?
We had 3 workers there, back kitchen, prepping, dishwashing, and serving.
Okay.
We worked with the local parks department, setting up a weekly concert series starting at 8 in the morning, going till 10 at night, with a long break in between, putting up tents, working as a team,
Right.
taking direction from their staff.
Awesome.
And then taking it all down in the evening. We had 2 different programs working with the elderly, one at a assisted living community called Eschaton, where they did activities and also went into memory care, which turned out to be a really good match for a number of our interns, and then with the community activities program, so separate supervisors, separate schedule. We also had a whole team working with a local moving company, and that was really interesting. It happened to be the busiest 2 weeks of that moving company's history, and they had dozens of jobs, and our guys came in and they said, we want them back.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we'd like to train them further, and how do we do that? Everyone wants to come back and say, can we do more of this?
Yeah.
We really like this. The Chamber of Commerce got involved, the Rotary Club got involved, and now at Meristem we're about to start the first neurodiverse Rotaract club.
What is a Rotaract
It's
club?
the young adults program in Rotary.
Interesting.
The first neurodiverse program in the United States, or maybe the world.
That's very exciting. But I'm imagining it took a little bit of work ahead of time to identify these companies.
Right.
And what stumbling blocks did you find? What were because if you found 6 that you were working with, I'm guessing that there were a significant number who said,
Right.
I don't think we're ready for this.
Right. Yes, so all of that, yes. A few were personal connections or professional connections that I had, such as Eschaton. I came to them with a program and they said, sure, we'll go for that. Others were not so easy, and the Chamber of Commerce helped, and we had some friends in the Rotary Club that said, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's link arms as a community and help out this program, and let's get involved with this experiment. And we paid for it. We provided job coaches, so there was always support.
For the employer, those interns were free to them,
Yes.
but the interns were being paid from the program.
Yep.
Okay, so best of all possible worlds, especially that moving company. I'm sure they were like, this is a boon for us.
Absolutely.
We've gotten free labor and we learned from it and got our jobs done. So now, Zac, were you one of the people in that program, or were you not in that program?
No, I wasn't in that program. Right now I'm focusing on helping out in the cafe on campus here at Meristem and on the internship with Congresswoman Matsui.
Right.
But what Zac is doing that's part of the program, and another young woman also working in the cafe, they're both working as peer mentors, which is a paid position as part of TAP, and are debriefing with me regularly about how they are coaching their peers in the processes of the workplace. And this is one of our hypotheses, is that a peer coach is going to be more effective than a professional job coach.
Right.
And so we're studying it. So Zac is actually participating, but at a different level, and through his love of work in the cafe.
That's fabulous. I want to come to the cafe now. I've already heard 2 good things about it. Zac works there, and you said that it's pretty fabulous.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I want to pivot back to Meristem now.
Sure.
To know, because we, all the time we have parents who are like, I just don't know where I can send my child. So let's talk a little bit about if a 19-year-old comes to Meristem. Are there like set times and classes that they're going to learn thing, or what does the day look like?
Zac, you want to address that?
Yeah, sure. So the day is a block schedule. Every day is 3-hour classes for 2-hour classes 3 times a day. And at the start of every day, we have a morning circle where we kind of get together and we go over what's going to happen today, any updates, land report. We also have an afternoon circle where we reflect on the day and appreciate those who did well and think what we can do better. And I think the afternoon circle has really been impactful and a great idea.
Wonderful. And so what kinds of classes are, and let's say if I'm asking anything too personal also, Zac, you don't have to answer anything, but I'm curious as to what kinds of classes you're taking and have taken there and what you like.
Yeah, so classes I've taken, that's the easiest one. There is a lot of classes, everything from woodworking, blacksmithing, coppersmithing, cafe, culinary arts, bakery, campus services, theater, improv. The list goes on. There's really a lot of classes, and it's a good encompassing, it encompasses a lot and a lot of different skills. And
good for everybody.
My favorite classes are by far blacksmithing and cafe and bakery.
Wonderful.
And Zac knows it just permeates everything so much that we almost forget to mention it. The role of movement in every single class.
Oh, yes.
And the role of this incredible landscape that the property's on, and the immersion in nature.
Yeah.
And nature forces, being with the sun, the water around us. We're in gold country, so the gold beneath our feet, which really helps the young person orient themselves to the place. And then, as Zac mentions, we have these opening and closing circles every day. So there's this built-in sense of community that really grows on you and deepens as you stay there.
And it's a working farm. So you've got animals there, and you're growing things as well?
Oh yeah, it's a seed to fork program.
What kinds of things are you growing? Doesn't this sound like a place we all want to retire to?
I can take this one.
Okay, what are you growing?
There's a lot of, I don't know everything we're growing. I mostly work in the cafe, but the cafe harvests food from the farm every morning to use in the lunch for the day. So lately we've been harvesting these red noodle beans, romaine, lettuce. We've harvested lemons in the past for lemonade, zucchini squash, as well as the squash blossoms, and just a wide variety of other crops. How it works is if there's a crop that a student wants grown, they can talk to Jim, who is our land instructor, and normally it can be grown in the appropriate season. So our farm really just depends on what people want.
Wow. And is it organic, or we haven't worked to that yet?
Oh, it's beyond organic. It's biodynamic.
Stop! This is like
it just gets better and better.
I want to go live at Meristem.
You can.
That's a very exciting thing. So I'm imagining, though, because the next question that people are going to ask, obviously there's a cost for students.
Sure.
For and we don't necessarily need to get into all the whys and wherefores, but who usually pays? Is it private pay, or does insurance ever pay for a student, or is there any other funding source that pays for a student to come to Meristem?
Many students have funding through Regional Center.
The California Regional Center.
Right.
You're a vendor with the Regional Center.
Right, and private pay as well.
Okay.
So.
And who is this right for? Because is this only for individuals? We just did a piece on the term high functioning, and I hate that term. But is there a certain skill level that people have to be successful at Meristem?
That's a good question. A willingness to try.
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah.
And Zac, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. I think the most important thing coming to Meristem, or really any other program, is not just a willingness, but a drive to improve. And that's a drive that needs to come from within. I know for me, I didn't start to see any real improvements in my first 4 or 5 months. There was minor improvements, sure, but nothing major. But then we broke for summer, and I went back to my old lifestyle, playing games all day, eating junk food, the summer that you dream of as a kid. And I was bored. And in that summer, it really improved my drive to change. That was what really made it for me. And after that, I really started to improve.
So that brings up another question. So you're kind of on a semester mode, and they can take the summer off and go home, kind of like a college situation. And you do have students who are going to Meristem and college concurrently.
Right.
They can go to the local community college.
Right, and we've just started our summer program this year, and now Meristem will be a 12-month program.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is the first year that you're doing that.
Right.
Okay. And again, if they want to live in this, and this is all up in Sacramento area, if they want to live in, you have room for 60. How many do you have currently right now?
Oh, well, the summer is a little bit different,
Yeah.
but there's spaces in the independent living quarters. Zac lives in one of the apartments. They're apartments of 4 or 5 bedrooms with common area, and independent living instructors that give classes on budgeting and shopping and cooking and cleaning and anything that is needed.
So would the goal be that when they are done, that they, or a significant number of them, would go and live independently after leaving Meristem?
Yes, or into a transition situation toward that. Yeah.
Really remarkable.
And Zac, you're in an independent dorm, aren't you? Pretty independent?
Yeah, I'm in a pretty independent dorm.
Yeah. So not as much support needed. So
no.
there's a fading of that.
But this is not the place to send individuals who are still struggling with challenging behavior and self-regulation, probably.
Well, it depends. It really depends. A lot of that we can see during their visits. There's a progression of visits. Often they come with the family and do a tour with one of our wonderful admissions folks and spend some time. Then they might come back for a one-day visit just during the day program. And if that goes well and it feels like a good match, and often we'll have guests come and go, I am so coming here. I am here. I am down with it. I love this. And then they come for a 3-day visit, including 3 nights in the independent living quarters. And then we assess, say, is this going to be a good fit? Because it's different. It's quite different. If there's someone coming like Zac described, coming, and many do, from, gaming all the time and
Yes.
Not being really engaged and being invited to do, pick up a pitchfork.
Right.
And we're going to go work in the field, and it's hot.
Yeah.
You have to overcome some stuff to do that, and that's actually training for work skills. Not that you're going to be a farmer, but you're going to know how to work. And,
the work ethic.
And that's one of the things that was so impressive of our jobs project, that we heard from all the managers and executive directors. Every single one of these interns already knew not what the job was exactly, but they knew how to work and get a job done. And I think that comes from the program at Meristem.
Which is great. So if people have more questions about either the Meristem program or the TAP, because you could do TAP and not go to Meristem, is that correct?
In fact, yes, we have a few people doing that.
Okay. So if they want to know about either of them, where should they go?
So Meristem is easy to find, meristem.pro, our website. And Zac, how do they find out about TAP? How do they keep on tap with TAP?
Yeah, so for TAP, we have an Instagram account called TAP California.
Okay.
And we keep that up to date.
All right. The whole Instagram thing.
And Facebook.
Okay.
You can also find us on Facebook.
TAP California, TAP California.
That's
to
right.
find out. But you do not have to be a California resident to participate in these.
No, in fact, we have a program now that we'd like to reach out to the listeners. Zac, you were just working on this project the other day about the surveys.
Yeah, so right now we're working on a survey to send out for parents of those on the spectrum that will really give us a lot more data from a more neutral standpoint about what's going wrong, what needs improved, and how can we help.
And so you want everyone to do that, right? A large pool of people.
Right. So we have right now 3 surveys going on. One is for the young adults on the spectrum who have had some experience applying for a job, getting a job, maybe losing the job.
Yeah.
So that's one survey, and anyone in the United States can take that. And please, you can get the link to that on our Facebook page. Also, Zac just
That's
completed,
the TAP California page?
right.
Okay.
Zac just completed the parents survey, and then there's an employer survey on how we can support their experiences with the workers on the spectrum.
Okay. Anything else that I have forgotten, because there's such a wealth here? Anything else that you want to say, Zac?
No, I think we covered most of it. Thank you for this amazing opportunity.
Thank you for being here, and you are such an inspiration. You're such a great role model, Zac. I can see why he would be somebody that you would have being a peer model for other people, because I'm sure that I love that your mother found this program, looked for it for you, and because I'm all about moms unite. But your mom must be very proud of you.
Yeah, both of them are.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing.
So we think of Meristem and the TAP project as really a process of transformation.
Yeah.
And we see that in Zac. We see that for all of us who get to work there, as we see
Yeah.
the cycles of the seasons in the farm. And that is the change that needs to happen, within ourselves and then within our culture and in the policies
Yeah.
of our government too.
Absolutely. Well,
So-
amen to that. So check them out, you guys. And if you're looking for that transition program, especially, for those of you, I'm excited about the fact that you're vendored by the Regional Center.
Sure.
And on Monday's show, we have folks from the Regional Center here to talk about the new program in California, the self-determination program, where you get to decide which programs you want to do, but they're already vendored. So that's a very exciting thing, because that makes it affordable for a lot of families in California.
Okay.
That's very thrilling. Well, I thank you for coming and being with us. I'm going to have to schedule a trip to come and visit.
You do?
So that I can see where I'm retiring to. Because that sounds, but I want them to grow eggplant, Zac.
We've grown those in the past.
Yeah, that's you get some eggplants, some tomatoes, and zucchini, and then we can make ratatouille in the cafe. See how I'm already making a plan?
And basil.
Oh yes, some basil.
Oh, yeah.
A little basil with that, and then it's ratatouille time. I love ratatouille time. Anyway, I thank you guys. I digress. But I thank you guys for being here and taking the time to be with us. This has been super fun. Zac, you're amazing.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.